interests me in terms of the direction they want to go in. For now, they'll draft the Yunara, certainly, as you said, the premier hyper carry of the patch at the moment. I think Yunara just has so much safety and so much consistency with the way that she can play out a lot of these laning phases. Do you want to early pick your support here? We talked about Missing's champion pool potentially getting pinched later on in the draft. Something like a Lulu is available, but as I called out, Croco's Vi definitely got to be something you put near the top of the priority list.
I think this is a very fun setup for them to just maybe slam Talia here, pick that one up. Yeah. Shaoye, listen, I don't think the game has changed enough for him to warrant how often he's slamming the Draven, but I respect the hell out of it. He's already boat racing how many Draven games he played last year, and he's got his third of the split already. Draven Nautilus, they are playing for the lane, but I mean, does this? I'm talking about a hover here, but does Braum value immediately skyrocket to just lock this?
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot. You know, Braum is one of those answers that's just like, yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy to be able to shut down the Nautilus. It makes Draven's life obviously so much harder in the late game. You can have more aggressive answers like the Blitzcrank that everybody will point out, or any hook champion, really, going into Draven that can be problematic. But Braum, I certainly think, is the most consistent. Now, setting up what both teams kind of want to do here. Well, now you've got a Braum on the bot side that can play really aggressive early, even into something like the Draven with the trading power, and you've got a Vi that has plays. You're obviously going to want to try and draft something like a Talia or a Playmaker or something like an Ahri potentially in the mid lane to pair up with it. You can bridge that gap, as I talk about. One of the most popular comps in the game right now is Vi, Ahri, Yunara, right? like yeah. Take this, you know, one item power spike duo that can transition into a Yunara late game carry. That definitely seems to be what LNG are looking for.
Expect to see a lot of mid lane in this ban phase for sure show up as such a big factor. Poppy ban is, I guess, just trying to make sure the Vi doesn't really get countered out here because, okay, I like the Wukong ban. So LNG are saying, Heng, we are going to make you play a pretty uncomfortable spot, and then they're going to take away the melees from BuLLDog's pocket. I just think this, I'm surprised you picked Silas ban over Talia ban. I think this just be a Talia or the Ahri, right? I think either of them would work really well with how this Vi wants to work.
I think there are three champions here, Talia, Ahri, and of course Aurora. That could potentially be on the table if you wanted to go in that direction. BuLLDog, you know, kind of an overall player. Would be surprising. It kind of would lead me to believe that they've got something up their sleeves in the mid lane. They are going to go with that Rek'Sai that I called out earlier. I think it's the best option here into Sion for what Sheer feels comfortable on. But you're right, very curious to save that mid lane pick. Certainly gets your wheels turning in terms of what could be going on. The Victor going to get locked in. Yeah. This tells me that they might go for something like a Mundo in the jungle if they wanted to go for that. Just this big, beefy comp to play around the Draven.
Yeah, I do think, okay, yeah. This is a good, like, cohesive comp. But, like, Rek'Sai Vi immediately is a lot of pressure for a Victor and a Draven to deal with. And we haven't even picked mid lane up yet, which I do think... Yeah. BuLLDog, we should just, lean into, like, something that can follow up that damage. Hwei is fine. That you get the safety, but Severing Bolt, Spiraling Despair, like, all of these long-range abilities can follow up the Vi and the Rek'Sai. So, LGD, you have got, like, the beefiest front line ever. You are not going to lose front to back. Do you ever play a fight front to back? We'll have to see.
I mean, the scariest thing about this draft for LGD is just that they have no tempo in the mid game. They have no tempo at that one item power spike. When things are getting to level 6 and you want to try and play the map, you have no way to actually do that. The Draven needs to cash in order to carry, and I think it's going to be really tough for him to cash in this game. There are very, very few ways to start fights without someone overextending to a Nautilus pick. So all of the agency in this game is going to be on LNG, but if, you know, LGD can scale themselves into the late game like they did in game number 2, they definitely do still have some options to be able to deal some damage later on.
All right. It may have gotten a little bit anticlimactic because we went down memory road with League of Legends itself trying to get into this draft, but we are through it. And, well, I would say both teams accomplished things we laid out for them in the pre-show. LGD, simple, succinct compositions together that got them the Game 2 win. It's what they're headlining here in Game 3. But for the first time in this series, LNG might have been handed their best mid-game to play out of yet, and that is how they have been lethal in Group Nirvana. So one of these two storylines will finally come to a bit of a close here, with either LGD locking up the top 2 Group Nirvana or LNG setting themselves officially away from the pack heading in to the play-in tournament less than a week away.
全军出击！
I think the fans were a little sleepy too, waiting for that draft to come across. The Jayos may have taken a bit of a hit, but they are still present in the arena as we get out onto the rift here and grab a pillow and blanket every time we pan mid lane.
You know, that's just sometimes how it goes with the mages. We can't be too mad at them. You know, people have been asking for, you know, champions like Hui to get brought into the meta. I know Victor's not the most exciting pick in the world, but can be effective in this draft. But again, the onus is kind of on LGD to try and get that cash out onto Shaoye as early as possible. This is his signature champion. This will be his third Draven game of the split. He had 2 Draven games last year, which is insane to say. He's already eclipsed that mark. He clearly sees something different in 2026 than he did in 2025. Part of that has to do with the snowballing. We'll see if he can get that snowball rolling tonight.
Do you want to really highlight how missing can be such a problem for Shaoye in those cash outs? Remember, the unbreakable wall, the ice wall he throws up, does actually not only block the whirling death damage of later ultimate, but also will not let it go through, keep going, right? So you don't even get the craft back. So that is very important to see. Is YCX does hit the wall on his dredge line. They do get level 2 first. At least they trade Missing's heal out for just a bit of a speed up, but not too much gained in that aspect. We will both junglers pathing down here, but for the first time, 2 junglers that want to play this early game very differently. Croco, you highlighted him as such an aggressive jungler. Well, into this Mundo matchup, he can really wreak havoc while Heng is just trying to power farm up.
And that's the thing. This Vi's gonna have so much agency in this mid game here that we keep talking about. You know, I know I used the term early, mid, late game to be more specific. That level 6 power spike for Croco is going to be the biggest in the entire game in terms of the plays that can be made across the map. Heng is going to have a really hard time being able to match that pressure when you're starting to hit that 1-item power spike. It will eventually get to the point where the Mundo is going to be really tough to deal with, but how much can LNG get done in that time frame? That is going to be a massive question. Croco has been so active for LNG, and it needs to be once again here in game number 3.
And another reason why Yunara can be such a strong pick is the fact that, you know, going the Fiend Hunter bolts, getting to 100% crit, getting that armor pen, the way that item works, you will get 10% true damage on those big 3 autos. So, you know, Mundo is very hard to take down, but I feel like Yunara, alongside maybe a Sivir, are the best equipped AD carries right now to deal with a front-to-back sort of stature that what I said will be presented with.
Absolutely agree. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this big, beefy comp on the side of LGD and thinking that their 5v5s are easy, but let's not forget, Draven, very much a champion that kind of needs some time to deal that damage, and while you've got some beefy frontline, you've got a Vi diving your backline, you've got a Rek'Sai as well, with some point-and-click ultimates that can cause you quite a bit of problems. Sway as well going to be very problematic for something like a Dr. Mundo to deal with in the later part of the game. Plenty of tools for LNG to be able to teamfight if they get to that stage, especially if they get there with a gold lead, but that is the important thing. Sheer being given this counter pick on the top side, we talked about his limited champion pool. He's going to get the chance to prove us wrong with this Rek'Sai.
Trying to do the next top laner we'll see tonight. Proud as Flandra, I've heard Mr. Rafa himself in the middle of AL games claim Flandra the best Rek'Sai in the world. I definitely agree with that sentiment, too, mostly because he's the only one really playing it a ton, but the way he makes that champion look, if Sheer can grab about even half of that, it will be very powerful into this game, as you've talked about. So maybe we'll get to see the classic Flandra waiting room with Sheer on this pick here so far. Not much, though, to talk about in the early phase. It's just some early gold leads, as expected out of Sheer in that counter pick matchup. Croco spamming through these camps to try to get towards level 6. He's going to have his Krugs come up soon. It should get him decently close there. And, well, let's start trying to claim some of these flashes off of Shaoye and maybe Tangyuan.
Especially with dragons spawning in 5 seconds, this could be the breeding ground for a lot of very exciting action early on in this game. Both junglers going to be in the area. And that level 6 is so important for Croco to hit. He's going to get there at least on the same timer as Heng. Things could be really dangerous with both junglers down here now.
Could be the ward cleared out there, the pink ward. Croco obviously not spotted just yet, but with his ward into the pit, he's going to see Heng start up the dragon. Level 6 only on these mid laners, but with the push going on and Sasa off the map with his ultimate, LGD are making it very clear that they're going to do something they haven't yet done this series, and that's get ahead on the Dragons. Their first strike of the series.
Nice pickup there overall for LGD. They need to start pressuring things out. Again, they can get to a point where things can be, you know, decently easy to play front to back. You want to talk about a big concern for this comp later on as the game goes. Your engage is very flimsy. I mean, you're looking at a Nautilus that kind of needs to land hook and ult to be able to full go in. Mundo and Sion both really going to be there to make sure that any play kind of gets dissuaded. That could definitely be something that LGD could suffer from the later this game goes, but getting Dragons, getting extra stats can allow those big beefy frontliners to perhaps survive a little longer when that poke is coming down and give more time to the Victor and the Draven.
It's still just going to be so hard for YCX to front all that because look what Missing does. I mean, we're showing it in the lane already, right? He throws up the wall. Later he'll have the Glacial Fissure that's just going to make it really hard for this Nautilus to ever operate. Starting to see why LNG decided to pick that counter pick in this big game 3. Not just the fact that Sheer gets the Rek'Sai into the Sion, but you have things like Braum to really tone down the one engage that, as you alluded to, with LGD in this game. The real ticking time bomb that we're waiting on is those adoration stacks for Shaoye. It's what makes this Draven game such an interesting angle, knowing that you have a passive Mundo jungle, a weak side Sion, a scaling Victor. Like, we're going to get to a point where Shaoye is going to have a lot of adoration stacks unless he misplays this lane. But he could lose all of them if the one fight they finally get pretty late in doesn't pan out.
I mean, you gotta love the feast or famine style that Draven ends up naturally bringing. He's gonna hit level 6 here, but you're absolutely right. Especially if this game continues at the slow pace that it started on through these first 7 minutes. We start to get later and later into this game, and we still haven't cashed out those adoration stacks. If we're still sitting at 0 kills, things can get spicy, but LGD don't want to let it get there. Heng's coming down.
He's looking to just go for the invade with the pressure here, but he's going to run right into Croco, who's just very early started up his red buff. Gage's going to come down from Heng to get rid of the spell shield. Croco throwing down the autos. Who gets first roam here? Missing is here from the bottom side. BuLLDog coming over from mid. It's going to force Heng to not only flash, but top the maximum dosage. They do find a dredge line onto 1xN, but he barriers. Glacial Fissure is going to come down as well. 1xN still holding on to that transcend. There's the flash over the wall against cease and desist. They're going after Shaoye, but Croco's alone here. Nobody can really follow through. 1xN will find first blood. Shaoye cannot get the cash out. It's 1xN running rampant here. Spiraling Despair will get BuLLDog on the board. Croco sent it, and LNG backed up his talk. 3-1 in the fight win.
This is exactly what I was talking about, Slayer. It's Vi's ultimate that ends up coming in clutch. It's the lockdown onto the Draven that doesn't allow him to play a lot of these fights. And unfortunately for Shaoye, that's no cash out on all those adoration stacks through the first 8 minutes of the game. We're going to see how this starts. Heng just goes for a really aggressive invade. We see some trading going down on the bottom of the map. This is just really greedy from the Dr. Mundo, who again wants to try and generate resources, but really should not be fighting at this point in the game, and LNG know that. They sense that. They go for this full engage, even with Missing having basically no mana for this fight. The ult onto Shaoye basically secures the fact that this Draven is going to die. The question is, will he get a kill beforehand? BuLLDog does flash in just in case things end up going awry. They do not. The kill goes down. BuLLDog picks up yet another one. And now you've got 2 kills on Yunara, 1 kill on Hui, and all of this engage. First ultimate was a success.
Guys, it's season 16. You have quests to fulfill. This feels really weird for Shaoye and YCX. I know it's just, you know, like wave management-wise, it might have made sense since Tangyuan was already down there, but it is a real hindrance that you are losing valuable quest time on both of these guys. So to make it back out towards the respective lanes, but that effectively does set them a bit further behind than the stats really tell, especially for the AD carry quest where you just cash in straight gold when you get that one completed.
I mean, and you can't afford to have this Draven behind in any way.
No.
There's a nice dodge there from the Q on Cheer. He's going to go for a trade here, but no way you're killing that Sion on the top side.
Here we
Gonna
go,
be tough.
Get the Braum. Oh, the cleanse on the Q. The stun should still land. No, one auto short. The whirling dead turnaround. No. All right, well, there's that adoration cash in. 1xN overextending one of his big boons of this split so far in lane.
Just a huge mistake. I don't know why 1xN was tanking tower aggro there, but it's just a big problem. A greedy play, a greedy ultimate, and a big punish there coming in from LGD. Shaoye kind of let back into the game on that play, really, when we get a replay of what happens. 1xN just jumps in and feels comfortable to go for this, but Look at tower aggro. 1xN hit him first, and that means Missing is not taking it. It means 1xN's getting lower and lower. Whirling Death comes out, and he just dies. This is not the first time we've seen this from 1xN. Certainly something he's going to need to clean up as this game goes along. Second dragon spawning, it could be LGD's.
Yeah, it stinks because I think he played that first fight as well as he possibly could, even with the aggressive flash. Hold on, though, we're going to have to go towards this dragon. LNG not wanting to give the second one up. Smite fight, 1 HP! It's picked up by Heng. His health bar is already pretty low here. They've got the Braum on the front line. Following Despair's going to hit onto Sasa. They've already got rid of Shaoye, and YCX is way too far up creek with no paddle to really deal with. Stacking the fears is BuLLDog, and Sasa will be the next to fall here. Sure, you got the first 2 Drakes LGD, but you're bleeding gold over to your opponent.
There's just no way that LGD is going to win a fight at this point in the game. It is very greedy of them to try and continue to stack these dragons. Maybe they feel the trade-off is worth it, but it is so tough to be able to fight front to back against all of this engage without really any positioning on Shaoye. He doesn't even have first item completed. Look at the difference in these 80 carries. There's just no way for you to be able to fight that. We're going to get a replay of how this all starts. It's nice, I guess, from LGD to be able to get this dragon, but they kind of screw up the execution. They smite early, still able to land it, is able to secure that. It would have been a disaster if he didn't, but with both top laners in now, it's very clear on a front-to-back perspective that this Draven just has no way to actually deal any damage. He's going to get blown up immediately. Tangyuan's not at the point where he can actually do anything on the Victor yet either, and Croco's damage might even be higher than either of them at this point in the game. He didn't even have to use ultimate. He still has that tool available if they want to go for more plays, and now they have a 2k gold lead.
Yep, and they've got it in just the right places with those first items coming through in top, mid, and bottom lane. Going after Missing, but Braum is just super pesky to deal with. It does force the Glacial Fissure out, but Missing doesn't even drop below 70% HP, and more time stacking Adoration is Shaoye.
Stacking Adoration, still not quite at that first item. Neither is Tangyuan. BuLLDog and 1xN both having completed their first item. This is exactly what we were talking about. This is the timer for LNG. This is the strongest in the game that they will ever be in comparison to LGD. They need to capitalize on it. I'm going for an aggressive invade. He might be the target.
Yep, there's a spell shield down. Clutch Fear for BuLLDog. They time it so perfectly that Croco doesn't even need to cease and desist again. BuLLDog and Croco linking up, and we are seeing why BuLLDog felt comfortable on this play. He has been super on point, just like this guy, 1xN. Lethal tempo stack, Kraken Slayer autos going down. He is ripping through YCX, and Croco's like, hey guys, I didn't have to ult for that first play. I see a Draven. We're going to chase him all the way off of his wave. Whirling Deaths to even pick up some of the straggling minions, but still bleeding even more resources. And I want to point out, Kman, really quickly, look at the quests right now. All that from that weird lane assignment.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely destroyed Xiaoye's game. He's 1,500 gold down on 1xN right now. I mean, this is looking disastrous for your signature pocket pick Draven. He's just so far behind. You cannot play this draft or this comp from this position easily. It's going to be a lot more difficult. Also, Heng needs to stop invading and getting caught on these camps. It's really costing his team a lot of pressure, especially without the bot priority. Shaoye is the priority at this point. Level 8 to Tangyuan's level 11. You want to make sure you can get your mid laner into the game a little bit here, but same thing for the bot side. These big beefy boys can only do so much when you don't really have a lot of damage behind them.
It is already looking pretty bleak for LGD. Something we outlined out of draft that LNG just have probably their best, most powerful mid game, and right now in laning phase, they've righted the wrongs of this earlier series. There's one Braum ult, and Xiaoye's flashed right back down. I smell a Croco gank coming, or maybe just a Croco dive. There's already pings coming down. It's forcing Heng to even think about a potential of this happening, so he's going to look to cover, but instead, it's the YCX depth charge. Missing throws up the shield. Shaoye does no damage whatsoever. Shaoye immediately has to bail out, use the cleanse. Now both summoners are down. Croco nearby. The turret down to about 2 plates, but BuLLDog has made the roam over next. Shaoye does not have much safety under this turret until the wave starts to thin out, but it's still another gold win here for LNG as they start to steal away these camps from Heng.
Not only is it another gold lead for LNG, once again, look at your quests on the top of your screen, or I would tell you, but they're gone now. It's only Shaoye. It's the only one in the game who has yet to complete his quest in 15 minutes. It is nightmare situation for this Draven who continuously is getting starved. Oh, there we go. We pop it in 15 minutes, but he's getting starved out of these resources under tower. It's going from bad to worse, and Croco is making sure that the pressure is not let up here.
Yeah, they are really pushing for this first turret. I don't know how much more aggressive they have to go. Heng does kind of win most of these 1v1 trades into Croco, and this thing's taking a good lump sum of damage. 1xN eats a dredge line, he'll be fine. And now first roam is to Tangyuan, but how do they really cut down this angle? They've got no depth charge. They're waiting on a dredge line from YCX. Heng doesn't land these slows. There's the depth charge, or the dredge line going wide. And LNG will be able to back themselves out.
Looks like they might want a little bit more onto this tower.
I mean, here come they've got BuLLDog coming on over here, and in a 4v3 again, the numbers swing back towards LNG's favor. It's just nobody's allowed to base, I guess, and now we have the dragon on the board, and that's going to make things pretty tricky for all parties involved.
Yeah, this is actually really well done from LGD. They should have full control over this dragon. This is going to be a harder fight for LNG.
Right, there goes Ballbreaker Croco. He gets Shaoye. Cease and desist forward into the severing bolt from halfway across the screen. BuLLDog gets the clutch fear into Heng as well into the Spire of Despair to get his jungler out. BuLLDog showing off the Hui style, and it saves a trade fight for LNG, and now they get the dragon and shut down the real only win con left for LGD.
It's just going from bad to worse for LGD. I said that this might even be the setup that they were looking for. They play so aggro in that area because they feel like they, want to pressure out LNG before this dragon spawns. But it doesn't matter if Croco has no HP. It doesn't matter if Missing is below half health as this fight starts. The flash engage onto Shaoye. To follow that up immediately with the ultimate, you have just enough damage coming in from both Croco and BuLLDog. It's actually the Arcane Comet that picks up the kill onto Shaoye to make sure he doesn't get any sort of, pullback from the ultimate. And then, of course, the fear to keep his jungler alive. BuLLDog has been pretty great on the Hui this game, and his lead continues to grow individually in the mid lane as well.
Dare I say, the best opening 15 minutes we've seen from BuLLDog all season long. I mean, it's not a high bar for him to clear, but I've been really impressed. Again, this is Hui. You're not supposed to be able to make a ton of early game plays with this champion. It's a super scaler. It's just like Victor, but with a couple more abilities, I feel like. A little more CC.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to point it out. I think Hui has a lot of value, and we're seeing that here with BuLLDog. Fortunately for LGD, something we also saw in that exchange down on the bot side, especially before the dragon spawned, was, in my opinion, their biggest concern for the rest of this game, which is that even when they feel like 1xN and Missing are overextending and pushing up so far with Heng in the area, they can't really do anything about it. They don't have any consistent engage on their side. They're, kind of hoping and praying that Amundo can run at their backline, but that's easier said than done. And it's allowing, champions like Yunara to just position so aggressively in a lot of these fights, and that's something that might only get worse with the gold deficit increasing.
I mean, on that point, right? I know it's just a cloak completed, but 1xN already having the Fiend Hunter Bolt, so if he's wailing into a Mundo or a Scion, he's going to get those crit shots on the first 3. And then I'm pretty certain this is actually going to be an LDR rush instead of an IE from 1xN, so he's already accelerated towards Armor Pen, dealing with these tankier champions. If it's an LDR, it's Giant Slayer as well. Kman, you know all about that pass as much as I do, so 1xN's already on track to really alleviate the one problem with LNG's comp, which is front to backing not being very successful, but right on cue, 1xN and Missing just walk down Heng. He has maximum dosage pop, he has red buff, he has tank items, it just doesn't matter. 1xN's that far ahead, and a clutch fear once again from BuLLDog sets up the easiest dive the two imports for LNG have seen.
The TP!
Oh,
and Sasi might be in danger under tower here. There's 4 members and a Rift Herald getting dropped for the Scion.
Oh, the cease and desist! Oh, I wanted him to keep bowling him and see how long the vibe would follow the Scion. I mean, this is a crafty way to get out of this play, but he's gonna have to try and back in between the turrets. I see BuLLDog is already reset. Is he just gonna start proxying? That would be pretty hilarious. I want to see what's happening topside. BuLLDog is fighting Sasi right now between his tier 2 and tier 3, but instead we're getting the 1xN show. Good little shield coming across from Missing, and Shaoye had a decent return on damage, but again, the Braum just ruins it.
It's a really bad feeling when the Yunara just gets to walk up to the Draven in melee range and attack, but be punished for it here. TP coming in.
Missing's like 20% HP, and they still don't feel comfortable going for that kill. The Heartsteel stack doesn't even find the trade for Heng. Shear's got a bit too far forward, but he's pretty tanky. They're just under the tier 2 turret. Mundo should not be dying that quickly to Yunara's pre-20 minutes.
I mean, it is just not looking good right now for LGD. This Mundo pick is not working out. Heng, unfortunately, not finding good angles, and Baron just spawned. How lucky for LNG. How fortuitous as they get to waltz their way over to the Baron pit on the top side of the map, and they get a little reward for their troubles. They have an 6K gold lead at 20 minutes into the game. That will only exponentially grow for me.
So, are we pretty confident LNG is going to close out a game with an 8+ K gold lead quicker than LGD?
I mean,
right,
I sure hope so. We get a replay of this. If my Yunara does this in solo queue, I'm losing my mind. But in this game, look at the shields, look at the healing. It doesn't matter. There's no damage coming in from Shaoye because he's so far behind in this game, missing 1xN both at half health as this fight starts, and it feels like they can play this out, but if they don't find the kill onto missing immediately, there's no way for them to be able to continue to go forward with Croco and BuLLDog in the area. Missing even ends up surviving, which is just worst case scenario for LGD. They pick up the double kill. 5,000 damage from 1xN throughout that last fight. I mean, now LNG is going to try and own their jungle.
Yeah, I mean, this is the dream. Like, I'm jealous of 1xN that he gets to play Yunara like this because I think Yunara is one of the most fun champions to play. Like, the way you weave auto attacks, like, even the sounds, like, her autos make her so fun. But it's so hard to find games where you can get to play like this. It's kind of a dream for 1xN, and he's living it out for all the AD carry players at home. To a disgusting degree with the damage he's got. I mean, he is almost done with an LDR. I think he just completed the Cole. I'm pretty certain if he wanted to reset, he would have 3 items at 22 minutes.
I mean, can you ask for a better Yunara game? Like, it just doesn't happen. Look, he's on the flank here as he's looking for the Dr. Mundo. You never really want to see that as Dr. Mundo.
Oh, there's another Dredge line into a Braum. Guess what he's going to do? Throw the shield up, Glacial Fissure ultimate, and oh my! Spiraling Despair just went kaboom! And there's the Arc of Ruin for 1xN to help BuLLDog find that kill onto the Nautilus. More Severing Bolts coming down, and we really get to test how tanky this front line is. Spoiler alert, it's not. Holy cease and desist! Croco's going flying under the tier 3 turret. Shut down onto Missing in the background, and Croco went far too in. Wow, that Blast Gun's really going to save him. LNG are doing a bit of a limit test, and they're learning said limits.
I mean, limit test is fair to call that. That was a 3v5, and they were the ones who dominated and picked up the kill. So, I don't know. Were the limits tested? Were the limits achieved? I don't even really know at this point. Croco diving under Inhibitor Tower to try and kill the AD carry. I mean, this is the kind of confidence and aggression that a team like LNG has showcased a lot, but in a game like this, it really just feels insane. We're going to get a replay of this. This is truly a 3v4. I mean, under every circumstance, there's no other way to put it. Missing even starts at half health. This is like a 2.5v4. The Whirling Death comes in from the Draven, but at this point, it doesn't matter. The BuLLDog's damage is just ridiculous. 1xN pumping out consistent DPS as well.
How does Missing die?
And yeah, I am a little bit curious. We are going to get the replay as he just takes a couple of tower shots and ends up falling down, you know. Execution might not be an A+, but I certainly think this game is going to be considered as such.
Is the only kill that Tangyuan is going to get in this game one where he's not even on the screen for it? Probably.
Oh, man.
I'm just pointing out facts, okay? This is not flame.
You're right.
It's a factual statement.
You are absolutely right. This Victor is on Blackfire Torch with the Hui on 3 items and a 10 stack.
And he had to go Seekers already. He had to go Seekers, so he's not even, can't even really sport any real good CDR. Just like clockwork, YCX throws a Dredge line, Missing eats it, and it means YCX is going to die. Severing Bolt, bang! BuLLDog is in the bull's eyes right now.
Oh my gosh, at this point it's really just like from deep. I mean, we're taking half-court shots and they are going straight through the net. And, you know, LNG, I think they needed a game like this after game number 2. We'll see how they end up executing. Of course, they're not pushing towards the end just yet. We're sitting at 25 minutes. You will be on Soul Point in 2:40 if you want it, but Baron spawning in 2 minutes, that is likely going to be the priority for this team on the reset. Once they get that Baron, it's going to be really hard to stop that push.
Stealing all these jungle camps away. You know, this is exactly the game we wanted to see from LNG to respond to, you know, some of the questions we had. It's not only the fact that they're just going to get this dominating win. I again want to point out that the one thing they couldn't solve in this series felt like early game against LGD, and even with LGD winning, I would say game 1 and game 2 early games, they weren't as big of wins as this was. I mean, we've got Vise chasing down Scions. Like, this is not ever supposed to work. Oh my god, he's getting so many autos.
He's coming in.
I mean, he got like 15 autos in before anyone comes near to save Sasa. Oh, man.
It's just disgusting. Rest of the team is not even in the area. It's just BuLLDog. Missing was making his way up, but they're going to keep the 1-3-1, or I guess the 2-2-1 going. throughout this map. Sheer is going to make his way onto this bot inhibitor tower.
Oh my lord.
He's just
Oh my
absolutely
God.
obliterating this structure. It's almost gone entirely. They sent 4 to stop 1xN and missing in the mid lane with Croco on the hover, but BuLLDog is still topside, and he's going to clear that wave incredibly quickly. These towers are going to fall. There's not even a Baron buff on the map yet. This is only going to get harder for LGD.
Not to rub salt in the wound, but the wave clear is suspect on this comp too, right? It's like wherever Victor isn't, we can probably get a really good push into that said turret. All right, let's see. Sheer, is he going to go after the Scion? No. I want to see. So we kind of got interrupted, but is the biggest win here how this early game went for LNG in your mind, Kman, knowing how dominant of a series end this is?
I definitely think there are 2 big takeaways here. I think the early game and I think the draft. We were heavily questioning the Game 2 draft, but this is one of the more standard ways you can play. I think the Hui is working out, and a lot of encouraging traits from the way that LNG are piloting this. So they just continue to take everything on the map. I mean, there is nothing left for LGD to farm other than the minions that are gracefully walked into their own base. It is just going from bad to worse. Baron has spawned on the map. It's 25 seconds on potential soul point if they want to go for it. Really, at this point, it's whatever LNG wants.
See a Rek'Sai, Vi resets. Beef up on some items, and yeah, they should just all make their way towards that Baron pit. Got top in a pushing position. Mid lane will be pushed out. LGD look like they want to try and work their way towards this dragon. Be like, hey guys, listen, we got the soul point, okay? We were comfortable in this game. Oh, never mind. LNG are deciding to go for the dragon first, Baron later. And this just could be the last fight of the game. LGD, where is the desperation show? Are they gonna look for a pick, or are they all throw themselves into the pit? One of the 2 gonna go down here as Sasi and Heng work their way into the pit. Maximum doses pop, but the dragon is not low enough. Heng's gonna try and just get rid of the dragon, as YCX will get deleted. Fountain Spirit nearly finds the kill. Dragon's picked up for Heng. That's a win. Problem is, what I said has been free hitting this entire time on your front line. Unstoppable Onslaught gets one of them out. Shaoye will end up falling, but 1xN is still running directly at your tanks that are now being corralled like cattle to slaughter. Sasi going to be the first one to fall. Heng with nowhere to run, but back to the fountain in a gray screen fashion. And that will be LNG wrapping up this Baron, or maybe just looking for the Game 3 win here.
Looks like they are going to be making their way to the top side. Hey, you got the dragon. That's something. You got the you got the little gold pop-up of, hey, you got an objective bounty. That's nice. It looks like Croco could be targeting Tangyuan here, but just going to be moving his way to the top side. Waves are going to get shoved in. You're right, the Baron is on the map. I would imagine that is the priority very, very shortly. But who can take Baron without taking a little bit of red buff first? You know, that's just how things go around here. Shaoye has to play so aggressive, realizing that his life is completely forfeit in that previous fight as well. You know, I'm sure we will get a chance to see the replay. But for now, LNG just getting to capitalize on the prize that is them owning some of this.
Should help their mid laner tick over to 4 items, along with their AD carry, I suspect, with the gold injection they'll get. Yep, this is, I've used the word too many times, but domination. If I could only use it once, I would use it right now. That is what this single game has been. It's actually one up how big of a win it was for LGD in Game 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely the most dominant game of the series up until this point. And like we said, we really wanted to see this out of LNG. Their expectations are not to be competing with teams like LGD. Not that LGD have been terrible throughout this entire series, but the ambitions for LNG are Group Ascend. This wants to be a team that can compete to be in the upper echelon, and right now they are definitely looking like they are of that ilk. The, as you said, dominance that is being shown, the destruction, the decimation that is on display is certainly catastrophic. Question is, how do they want to end this, and where do they want to put their pressure here?
Well, Battle Pipe speed up. 1xN's looking to throw some autos down. I will point out Croco has a GA, so if you thought him throwing his life into the tier 3 turret before was very wacky with his own life, then, well, he's got the GA now, so he might just look for it further. Clearing out the bottom wave is the priority. Shaoye is doing a good job into Sheer, making sure none of those Baron waves can get up there, but cannons will get shots at the turret sooner rather than later as Croco and Heng go blow for blow. There's another Vault Breaker forward. He's still got the GA. There's a maximum dosage out. I think that's exactly what Croco wanted to get rid of. Bottom tier 3 soon to fall, but LGD are not, they're just bending but not breaking just yet.
Oh, and it might happen real soon. We've got a lot of cooldowns coming in. Tower down. That is likely going to be the aggressive trigger pull that they are looking for. Again, no maximum dosage, no ult. On that Mundo. Oh my goodness.
One auto and Tangyuan's already almost dead. The Arc Ruin won't land. Depth Charge does land onto 1xN, but with Victor out, there's no damage to really contend with this machine gun of an 80 carry. The 1xN will plant right onto Sasa. First kill to gonna go down there. Heng does not have maximum dosage, but they do see the LNG bomb lane walk way too far forward. This thing will go down. There's an Arcane Storm reset. There's the cease and desist forward with the GA. Follow Despair does tag Tangyuan, and boom goes the dynamite. BuLLDog picks up 1 kill, looking to turn his attention back towards Shaoye, who does end up pushing 1xN out of this fight. Everything's getting real messy real quick here, but LNG, all they care about is looking for this win now. Unless they see how bad their health bars are hurting. They'll look for the reset. TP is coming through here, though. That's both solo lanes returning to the fray with full health bars. One of them will see their health bar extinguished much quicker. It's Sheer. Instead, what does he do? He goes forward onto Shaoye, and oh my god, 1xN just deleted him for about 50% HP, and that will be the cherry on top. It's another full series LGD force, but LNG once again come out the victor. It will be your #1 seed out of Group Nirvana.
LNG, the pre-tournament expectations were high, and they are living up to every single one of them right now with the way that they are playing. Utter domination here in game number 3, a decimation of LGD. They said, hey, we gave you that win in game 2 with our draft. We are not giving you another in game number 3 here.
You know, Kman, reflecting on everything we talked about before we got on air today, you were pointing out how 1xN has 33% of the team's damage share across games, and as much as I love my boy 1xN, I had to think, how does that happen? I learned in game 3 why that happens.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty eye-opening when you get one of those, like, he auto-attacked once and they died.
Yeah,
I mean,
yep.
there's not a better Yunara game that you can possibly point out.
Yeah, I think the only better Yunara game I saw this year was the Pentakill Prince. To be honest with you, that was probably it. I mean, and that's debatable because he peaked higher, but he wasn't as fed as 1xN was versus opponents. So make the argument anywhere. Wow, okay. All right, as we wait for these post-game stats, Kman, one more check on your LNG to group ascend barometer. Are we back up to an 8? You going to sit solid at the 7?
We are right back up there at 8. We are
Okay.
we are flying high at number 8 right now. I really do believe that this is a borderline top 6 or 7 team in the league right now, and
Soul says it wasn't me this time.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
It wasn't
I'm
me.
so sorry. I'm so
No, don't
sorry.
apologize. It's funny.
I had to
just
get
wanted
one
to
in,
defend
but
myself.
I really do think that they're like one of the better teams in the LPL. Like full stop. I think that on paper, this lineup in terms of talent is absolutely up there. I think 1xN and Missing have been a fantastic duo and a complementary playstyle. Croco was playing fantastic when he's locked in and not making mental mistakes, which you kind of have to accept with Croco. But this team reminds me, and I know this is a weird comparison, it reminds me a lot of 2024 Anyone's Legend. This is the pre-Tarzan and Vlandra version. This is Croco and Ala on the top side. You know, I think this team reminds me a lot of the way that team plays, and I think there's a lot to like about that.
Okay. I like that comparison. The thing that will hold them up is the fact that they're not going to get Tarzan coming in. Well, hey, listen, did this guy play for LNG at one point? He did.
Long time.
Long time. Man, and if you youngins think Tarzan was heavy lifting a team now, go watch some tape.
that 2021 LNG team, I mean, you know, Tarzan was doing a lot of work. But hey, we're not here to talk about Tarzan. We're here to talk about LNG.
That's next.
And you know what? That's actually a great reminder. LNG is a good org. Like, this is an org that has had a lot of success in the LPL. 2025, not so good. They didn't work out, but they tried to be good, just didn't really end up landing. This is an org that expects themselves to be in the top 6. Like, this is not, you know, an org that got this roster with the intention of just being average. They are out here for blood, and they got it in this series.
Yeah, I think LNG, I think we have to give a lot of flowers to how they've been able to regroup, like, their GM, like their whatever you want to call the team behind, like creating a roster like this. I do want to give them, maybe it's a bit early to call it, I don't really care. I want to give them their flowers for looking at how disastrous 2025 went for this org and coming in and being like, we have to clear the roster out. Can we really make one that we could be excited about? And they've done just that. I mean, people can be how they feel about like a player like BuLLDog, but getting a player of Croco's caliber over here, picking up 1xN, like probably the most hotly contested player out there outside of the will only go to contending teams players. Like I'm not gonna talk about Viper or any of like these other guys. Really well done, and the future does look bright. And hopefully, Kman, we don't jinx that, and they are a split 2 group of team, because I would like to see that, and I think the way they're playing, they deserve to be.
Completely agree. And let's not forget that this team was kind of counted out in the offseason a bit as well. A lot of these players had really rough years on their own, including org and players all really were looking for a bounce back, and they've had such a fantastic start to 2026. You just have to hope they can keep that confidence up.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? It's such a fun story, and we will get to see them officially locked in. Virtually, so they are now essentially playing Thunder Talk. Like, this is... They are
locked into playing Thunder. It's not essential. Thunder Talk is guaranteed to be 4th in Group Perseverance. That means their first series will be against Thunder Talk. I believe the winner of that will go on to play... It will be on the top side, whoever loses in the top of Perseverance versus bottom of Ascend matchups. But, this team should be better than almost any other team in the play-in. Really, you're going to be looking at the Group Ascend teams, but if the Group Ascend teams are as good as we want them to be, they're going to get out in that upper stage, and it's going to be teams like WE, NIP, EDG that they have to go up against to get their way into Group Ascend, and I think those are matchups that right now a lot of people would take LNG in.
I'm definitely in that camp. I think Kman, we're together on that one, united in the LNG fandom. But that will bring a close to Group Nirvana action tonight. Congratulations to LNG. Once again, 2-1 over LGD. You'll get to see LNG for a final time on the 3rd against Ultra Prime. LGD are right back at it tomorrow, taking on OMG to really solidify their spot also in the play-in tournament. But... for now, myself and Kman will bid you adieu. We are going to be throwing it on over towards Yanni and Rude Dude as they will take you through the big title matchup, that being Anyone's Legends taking on Top Esports. You'll get to hear from those guys on the other side of this break. But before we get there,